Hello again, YouTube. So today we're going to go over why it's important to measure your own valve springs and kind of how to measure them, which I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want a better detail on that, Pack Racing has a very excellent Pack Racing Springs has an excellent video on how to measure these to what you need. So this is a stock spring out of this head. It goes here. It might not have went on this valve, but anyway, goes here. And this is a stock spring. And the reason it's stock, because the guy I bought the cylinder head from secondhand had a stage 1 cam, and I have a stage 3. So I need bigger springs that have more room for coil bind. And your coil bind is this spring at full open, the distance between these coils. So you need roughly 60 thousandths. That's not going to handle my lift. It'll coil bind and it'll break my spring. So I ordered some parts from a company and they were good, so I ordered more. And this is the valve spring they sent me. This is a stock LS spring that they want me to put in this slot. And that's not going to work. So, measure your springs. Need to know your base. So take the caliper. You want to try to get your widest point. So that's not the widest. It's a inch 245. Now this is a conical valve or a beehive valve spring. So you got to know your top. Make sure it's the widest. Just move them around a little bit. It's 2 inch 31 thou. Now you need to know your seat height. And for that, you need this. This seat height mic. And your machine shop can do all this for you. And my machine shop's going to do this for me. But they just wanted me to see what I came up with. So you take your shim. Gotta have a shim, because this is just aluminum. So take your shim, pop it here. Take your little mic, put it on here. Now you take your valve and just slide it. Pop it in like that. Now you need your retainer. Trying to hold this at an angle so y'all can see it without my my valve popping up. The locks. Dogs are awake. Okay, pop that up like that. Pull it up. Alright, so let me turn these numbers around where you can see them. Crank it down. Now most mics you do nice gentle crank on them. This one here you kind of want to crank them pretty good to get because you want these locks all the way seated. If they're not all the way seated, you're going to have an inaccurate measurement. So make sure you're lined up here. Alright, so we got 720, and that's the seat height, an inch and 720. Got to make sure to add that extra inch or you're going to end up with too short a valve spring. So that's it. That's the importance of measuring it. And the game plan for this cylinder head. I'll take these back out. It's much easier coming out than it is in. Put this back apart. This cylinder head is going to the machine shop. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. And this valve guides are going to be replaced with bronze valve guides, and they're going to do all my spring pressures because all your valve springs have to be within 10 pounds of each other, and that takes different size shims. So they'll find me a valve spring that's close to this, and they'll either get a shorter valve spring or a longer valve spring, and if they get a longer one, they'll cut this down, my valve seat, and if they get a shorter one, they'll add a shim, and then they'll shim all of them and make sure they're within specs of the weight. And that's it.